All right, welcome back to PKFX YouTube trading channel. So this will be a very quick update on three of the trades. One of it I just entered. The other two have already been closed out. One hit the stop loss, another one hit the take profit. So we'll start off with the USDCAD first. So this particular trade, if I were to really zoom out, you can see this is a beautiful trend going towards the upside, and all I did was just ride the trend, right? So this trend on the weekly was actually bullish, right? Upon my entry, it was actually at the highest point of the weekly, but I decided to keep holding because I saw a clear shoulder pattern. There was a chance for it to retest the neckline before it pushes upwards, but because I saw this continuous trend going towards the upside, I decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to just go along with the trend. And it was actually a very good move. The market did indeed rally according to the trend, and the reason I took profit and took a step out is because the market came to this particular point over here, which in the previous times that it tested over here acted as a resistance, right? Acted as a resistance. And even if I go back to previous years over here, the last touch point was back in 2020. So even at that point, if I were to zoom in, right, all the market did was it touched this point and then it rejected, touched this point and it rejected, right? So the same box is coming into play over here, touch this point, rejected, touch this point, rejected, and that's what I was expecting. Now, obviously the market has already broken clearly above and it has continued to rally. Do I regret not holding it? Not necessarily, because my plan was the 1 to 2 risk to reward and I hit it. And when I closed it, it was somewhere around here. The better thing to do actually is to let the trade play out above the take profit area, right? If I go down to 30 minutes candlestick, you can clearly see over here, right? If the market is having a strong push towards the upside, instead of closing, you can even move your stop loss to your take profit. That way, if the market continues to rally, right, you're still in the game. But if the market pulls back, your stop loss gets hit and you still close at your TP, right? However, the reason I did this is because at this point of time, pretty much FOMC press conference was going on. So I believe some part of this rally probably was induced by the speech by Kevin as well. So that is the reason in why I said, you know what, the market has already given me the 1 to 2. Instead of being greedy, might as well I just close it and let the market rally. If it pulls back, then I'll hunt for a better opportunity to buy back again, right? So that is essentially USDCAD, and I've updated the Excel, the journal as well accordingly. Now, this is an important one, AUDCHF. This one, I took a loss, and I need to discuss about this one is because this trade pretty much did the same as the previous one, right? I held it for a very long period of time, right? The market was just ranging and then it went and hit my stop loss. And then the market came back down and I was confident, all right, now the 4-hour and the daily is now a sell. It's time to enter back again. And the market literally just ranged again and went and pretty much hit my stop loss early this morning. So the point here is if I zoom out at a daily, somehow the daily EMA is still acting as a strong support, and you can see the market has tested a few days, multiple times, was not able to break this EMA. And now that it has finally held as support, the market is now continuing to rally upwards. In fact, this also seems like some sort of head and shoulders pattern. So it may just retest and continue to rally upwards. I thought the market has already topped out when I saw this head and shoulders pattern over here. And I thought this was the retest and it's going to push downwards, but no, the market decided to push upwards, right? So loss taken, no regret here. It was actually a very good trade. I held this trade for close to almost 9 days plus. The only pain point was the swap for this particular trade was very high. In fact, at this point of time when I got closed out, the swap was almost 25% of the entire stop loss amount. So instead of, for example, losing 1% over here for this trade, I lost 1.25%. So this is something that we got to pay attention to. Swap fees, negative swap fees mainly, can be very painful. And if you are holding for a long period of time, we need to account into it. For this particular trade, I risked 1% and I lost about 1.25% if I include the swap fees as well. And this is another thing that I want to highlight. That particular loss, before I got the win in the AUDCAD, that marked as my 8th loss, right, in a row. So this can happen to anyone. This has happened to me now, right? And the thing that I would like to highlight over here is we do not change our strategy. We do not change our risk management. We do not change the way we look at the market just because we are in a losing streak. Because these 8 losses could even be 8 wins. You don't know when you will get the winning streak. You don't know when you will get the losing streak. And that's why in the dashboard, one of the items that I'm tracking was the worst loss streak and the best win streak. So far, the worst loss streak is now 8, which is this one, right? Before I actually got another win, right? So as long as you're practicing good risk management, as you can see, majority of these trades, I'm only risking 0.5%. One trade, I risk 1%. This one trade, I risk 1%. So I'm not risking a huge amount over here. I'm pretty confident that this amount, as we go along, I can always recoup back. So it is okay to have back-to-back losses as long as you're taking each and every trade as an individual trade. No trade is related to the other trade, right? Even in this particular situation over here, when I got stopped out over here, I didn't enter immediately. I waited for the market to show its hand first, and then only I entered this particular trade. However, unfortunately, this market ended up doing the same thing again and I got stopped out. But it is what it is, right? It is part of the game. So I am willing to accept the losses, and for the next trade that I'm taking in, I'm going in with a clear mind. Now, this is AUDJPY that I just entered. So for this particular trade, the reason behind it, this is a counter trend trade by the way, but the reason behind it is because on a weekly time frame, now I saw this clear push to the downside, and then last week was a clear rejection doji candle. This candle could have went all the way down, but it pulled back up and closed over here at the daily zone over here that is acting as some sort of a support. So now, if I put it back into its scale, you can see that this particular trade now, right, this week has opened and started moving slightly higher. Now, my expectation is obviously some sort of pattern like this to play out. As you can see, this has happened in the past. So when I look to the left, when I see something like this has happened before, this is what I'm expecting it to repeat back again. Once again, it is just my expectation. I'm seeing what it has done in the past, what the market has done in the past, and I'm hoping for the same thing to happen back again. But of course, I need to go to the lower time frame and evaluate that, right? So when I go to the daily time frame, I see the round psychological number of 113 is right here, acting as a support as well. This daily zone of interest, right? All these structure points that combined over here has formed as an area of interest where it's acting as a base for support. And the last daily candle has actually closed above this box and closed above the daily EMA. So for me, even though I had a strong rejection candle, the rejection candle held, and the next day it had a strong push upwards, closing about 75% and closed above this box. This indicated a good sign to me, saying that, hey, maybe this is the point where the market reverses. And if I go to the weekly, maybe this is the part where the green bullish candle starts going back up again. But once again, these are all my expectations, right? And when I go to the 4-hour candlestick pattern, the 4-hour has already flipped into a buy. So now I have the 4-hour in my favor. It had a reasonable amount of push towards the downside. This area as a previous structure point and started bouncing back. It's about to close, but when I went to the 30 minutes candlestick and when I saw, hey, the market, right, technically this was the higher high, higher low, right? So the moment it shifted over here, the market from a buy shifted into a sell, right? and then this sell over here, this is the lower low, this is the lower high. When this candle printed and closed, it shifted back again into a buy, from a sell into a buy, right? So this pullback is where I entered, and right now I'm getting this curvature, and if the market can continue to push upwards, then this will be a good entry point, right? I've already entered this trade, and I have a psychological number in my favor. I have right now the EMA as well, slowly in my favor. I have all the lower time frames, the 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 30 minutes are all in my favor as a buy. However, this is a counter trend trade because the weekly and the daily, which is the bigger time frames, are a sell, right? So let's see what I get out of this. This is a 1 to 2 risk to reward, and this is the trade that I just entered. Hopefully this will turn into a win, and we'll see what happens next. Most probably I'll be holding this trade if it doesn't hit my stop loss all the way next week as well, because the swap for this particular pair right now, AUDJPY, is positive. So the longer I hold, the more money I make, which is great, right? Compared to AUDCHF, which I held pretty long and ended up being negative swap and took about 25% of the entire stop loss amount. So it is what it is, right? These are the fees that you gotta pay for trading, right? So that's about it, guys. That's the quick update. 3 pairs, USDCAD, I took a win. AUDCHF, I took a loss, and with this loss, it was a back-to-back 8 losses in a row, which has already concluded when I put in this win. And now that I'm back from vacation, I'll start to focus more on the upcoming weeks. I'll do the weekly game plan as usual, and we'll take more trades from here onwards. So that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good day. Take care.